and 5/4 Fords, you know, sometimes those bolts are not the same. They are not the same size, so make sure that you know what bolt goes where, just in case you're working on something a little bit different than one of these Fords. So we get plenty of lube on these. Thought I had that one, but I didn't. This is the only thing about the clevites, is just it's got an aggravating bottom. And the rest of them may be the same. I don't know. I've just always used the clevite stuff. Okay. Now, these bolts, we're going to put just a little drop of oil. You don't want much, because these are blind holes, and you go putting a lot of fluid in there. Fluid cannot be compressed, and you'll actually bust a head. You wouldn't think that little bolt could crack a head, but it will. So we're going to put just a little bit of oil on our bolts. I've seen guys dip them in oil and get by with it, and that's fine if they can, but I'm always afraid of that. I'm always afraid of getting too much in there and cracking a head or something. Just not worth it to me. Just a little bit of lube's all it takes anyway, and doesn't take much. Got a little too much that time. Alright, so let's go ahead and start our assembly. Again, making sure that our numbers are facing that way. It is. We'll just try to start these for right now, and as we do our torque sequence, it'll pull this down better for that one. Don't want to put too much pressure. Number 2, facing that way. Stuff gets hard to hang on to when you get your hands soaked. Is facing that way. I know that's not real plain to you, but right there's where I'm looking. Hopefully you can see that number 3, 2, 1. I'm not sure what you guys can see. I have no way of knowing how this turns out till it's already finished. That's why I made a whole video with no sound. I can't hear anything, can't see anything. Have no idea how these turn out till they're done, so that's just the way it goes. So we'll get these straightened on down. That's number 5. And the last one will be number 6. And again, making double sure that all our numbers are facing that way. Now, what I'm going to do very gently here, very gently. This doesn't have a whole lot of torque, but it's got enough torque that it'd break one of these cam caps. So I'm just going to not that much. Going back and forth because as I did that one rotated around, loosened these up. And again, I'm not doing this very much at all because I don't want to break a cam cap. Okay, now I'm going to use a 1/4 drive ratchet. Could I use a 3/8? Yes, I very could. But the reason I'm using this is so I won't over torque these and break a cam cap. I'm also going to use the old 2 finger and a thumb method when I'm teaching my kids on something that's cannot take a lot of torque, like these little bitty bolts. 2 fingers and a thumb. So we're going to follow our torque sequence. Number 1 is here. Again, I'm just using 2 fingers and a thumb. When it gets tight, I'll go to this side. It gets a little tight. I'm going very gently. And I'm going to leave it at that. That's not all the way tight yet, but I'm going to leave it at that, and we're going to go just a little bit at a time. This is bolt number 3, number 4, just kind of work my way till they're snug. That's all I'm wanting. And yes, it's a slow process, but it beats buying a cylinder head, you know. These are not cheap. I think about $400 a piece, bare head. So you can kind of go back and forth. Like I say, we're not in the tight torque sequence yet. Now, could I torque these to 90 inch-pounds with this? You better believe it, because 90 inch-pounds is not much at all. See, that cap just loosened up as it settled down there, so that's good. Again, not getting in a hurry. Snug this in a little bit, snug that in a little bit. Thumb giving out there. Can't handle the stress. Whoop. Hands are slick. Can't grip nothing. Alright, now we can go back through the sequence again. See how loose this one is now? Then we've tightened all the rest of them up. We just want to get them snug, and that way we can get our torque wrench, because you know that torque wrench is kind of awkward sitting here. So that's why I use my ratchet to do it with. Just good and snug. And then we'll get the torque wrench to actually do the torquing. See, if I was doing this, that torque wrench, it'd just be a lot more awkward. So that's why we do the little ratchet, 2 fingers and a thumb, and we just go through them till they get, you can feel them snug up when they do that. It's no biggie. Alright, now we've got them snug. They're not torqued, but we've got them snug. Make sure everything looks good there. We're going to again go to 90 inch-pounds. That's what we're going to, following our torque sequence. We'll start at number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They kind of bounce up and down. And that's just the way the engineers have decided that these should be torqued. Again, we have to go extremely slow on this. Just like that, and I'm at 91. Very easy to go over with these. And I didn't realize when I was using the click type torque wrenches how easily it was to over torque something this small. And I'm not promoting these big high dollar torque wrenches. Can you do it with the clickers? Yeah. Built plenty of engines with them, plenty of these engines with them, but I just noticed that this is just so much more accurate than you can be with those. But would I go out and buy one of these necessarily if I was going to build one engine? No, wouldn't be a very wise decision. If you're going to do a lot of engines like I do, then yeah, it's worth the investment. But if you're going to build one engine, please don't run out and buy one of these $400 or $500 torque wrenches. just know what they're capable of. And then if you see as your experience gets better, or you start having people want you to build stuff, then maybe look at that.
Low power.
Alright, now we're going to check them. Now usually when I check them, I usually go over 90 inch-pounds because they don't move. Like right now they're moving and you can feel it. This don't beep to you. I mean, it's just harder to do. See, I went over on that and that was 90 a while ago. It's just hard to do because it doesn't move. The bolt's not moving, and no, I'm not going into torque sequence this time because they're already torqued unless I missed one. Something else that these torque wrenches will do, I'll let it sit there and blink at us a little while, is it will count the number of bolts you've torqued. If you can reset that to 0, and like I'm doing this cylinder head, and I know that I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 bolts, that would count down. If I saw the number 13 there, I'd know that, hey, I've got all 13 bolts. But I didn't reset it. But that is a handy feature to have, so you don't have to go back and check. But I'm just showing you, if you've got the click type or whatever. And two, I always want to make sure that I've got all my bolts tight. I mean, that's just good engine building practice. Even though you may know in your mind, I know I got all of them. I've known that before too, and go back and check, and sure enough, one of them's not torqued. So, all right, now we've done that. Normally, I go over them a third time. I'm not going to, for the sake of time on this video. But one thing that I do is, once I've got them torqued, is I take a paint pen. This is actually paint marker, and I will go over the tops of the bolts with white paint. And that way, at a glance, I know instantly that bolt has been torqued and checked at least once. Normally, like I say, I do it 3 times. For the sake of this video, I'm only doing it twice. But I've kind of got a standing rule that I don't mark them with paint until I've checked that bolt 3 times. And that can be a good thing for me. So if a customer comes in and, God forbid, has a failure of some sort, they can't say I left a bolt loose, because I don't mark them till they've been checked 3 times. Now, if we looked at it and that bolt wasn't marked, then yeah, they've got a legit complaint. They say, well, you only mark them if you check them 3 times. That wasn't marked. So, but now we've got this all torqued down. Everything's lubed. What we will do now is we will put our cam gear on. Now, something that I ran into, this cam gear needs to go with your dot facing out. It doesn't have a dot. There's not a dot anywhere on this. Dot facing out, because we've got to use that to time our change. This keyway will go in that groove on the cam, so we'll line that up and put it back on there a little bit. A little bit grippy there. Okay, I'll spin this around. We've got, hope you can still see, I hit the camera against my shelf up here. But we've got our washer will go here, cam bolts will go here. Now, something that I run into, they sent ARP bolts with these cams. But they sent a 12mm bolt. Will not go in. I've got some factory brand new 10mm bolts here, but I've not been able to contact my customer to see if he wants to use. These are torque to yield bolts. Once they are torqued one time, once these bolts are torqued one time, once you untorque them, they go in the trash. The ARPs can be reused many times. These are about $10 a piece. $8 is what I give for these way back when. These are about $30. So just depends on what you want them for. But that will conclude this video. Again, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope I didn't mess up the camera, and hope you learned something.